Cool. Okay, so all right, everybody. This is Sean V. Bradley, president of Dealer Synergy and the creator of the Millionaire Car Salesman Group. And I have a very special guest, my friend Jeff Bounds, the head of Cardone Automotive Resources. So, Jeff, welcome to the family, man. So, tell us a little bit about, like, just first of all, you. I want to know more about Jeff, and then we can get into what we're planning to do together.
Yeah, sure, man. It's great to be partnering up with you, Sean. Obviously, I know we have mutual respect for each other. I'm super excited to have this opportunity to, been handed the keys to Grant's kingdom for what he's developed. That really was, what jump-started his career, in automotive. And, coming on board here, I have 25 years of experience in the space. 20 of that is in a retail capacity. And I'm dating myself a little bit, but I was back in the era of when, internet departments and BDC started, and you were faxing over leads from Car Direct and AutoWeb and all that fun stuff. And just kind of evolved inside of the industry. And then about 6 years ago, just decided that I wanted to go out into the vendor space and just do a lot of consulting and things of that sort. I've known Grant since, the early 2000s, and, he was my original mentor when I got into the industry. And, definitely a catalyst. And it's really kind of surreal because it's not many times do you have the opportunity to, fast forward 20 years and be running the automotive division of the guy that actually helped you get started. So it's amazing. And I got to tell you, everything that he says and represents, he does every single day. And it's helped him expand out the organization to 16 companies now. And he's on the roadmap to becoming a billionaire. So pretty cool stuff.
Well, I don't even know where to begin. Let me just start by saying this, is that when you said the keys to the Cardone Automotive Kingdom, I just got a question. Are those keys heavy? Because they've got to be heavy, because they got to be like dripping platinum and diamonds. I mean, like, I'm just watching, and I don't know if you know this, but I was at the Light Speed Summit a couple years ago with Jared, and to hear the story that, what was it? Is it 8 or 9 years ago? There was like 3 employees, and then it fast forward, and when we did the Lightspeed, there was like 100 and something. I just saw a video of Grant. How many employees are you guys up to now? 185?
It depends on the day. We're
Yeah.
ramping fast. I think now we're at 185 or approaching over 185. Grant's all about expansion, and if you got to expand, you got to get people in to continue the mission. I mean, obviously. He's worldwide now. He just got back from Dubai and doing some stuff in the Middle East.
With the royal family, right?
Yeah. So it's incredible, man. So, he's got to have, the troops in place to make everything happen. I think the one thing that, Jared and I have also known each other for quite a while. And it's kind of funny how this whole thing started. I mean, we were at a digital dealer, I think about 6 or 7 years ago in Vegas, and he and I hooked up, and we've been doing a dance for like 6 years, trying to figure out a role that would make sense for me. And, I was just reluctant. I was from the DC area, and, I obviously had to make the move down here to Miami. So, big move, but, obviously big opportunities. So it's funny how things happen sometimes.
Okay, so I got to just say to you again, for everybody in the industry, it's kind of cool. Like if you're from New York and then you see a New York recording artist make it, like just repping your neighborhood, it's a big deal, especially like in the hip hop community and the urban community, like, repping where you come from is big. And to a lot of people, Grant is a car guy. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's real estate and he's making $1 gazillion from real estate. I mean, but if you think about anybody in the history of the automotive industry, there's never been a trainer that has broken through at the level that hell fuck. I mean, there's very few people in any industry that's broken through and done what he's done, but damn sure not from the automotive industry. So for us, for me as a real car guy, like I'm like, wow, man, that's what's possible. You know what I mean? Like from selling cars on the showroom floor to being on the grind, flight to flight to flight, to training people, to, like you said, to be in Abu Dhabi with the royal family. So again, This is a real honor and privilege for me to be able to have this interview and to be able to work with you guys. So let's just dive into it. So let's go into it, because some people, because Grant is doing all this other stuff. Let's take them back to what the core philosophies of Cardone Automotive is and the 10X. So can you explain to everybody, what is the Cardone Automotive philosophy for selling cars? Let's get into it that way.
Yeah, I mean, Grant really kind of shook up the industry and was a disruptor 20, 25 years ago when he introduced information-based selling into the marketplace. So that was like a radical shift for everybody. I mean, before it was all about, hey, keeping information to yourself, creating the mystique and the intrigue to get people in. And, we were in control in the automotive industry. And then as things have progressed, now, consumers have more information than we do. So Grant's about give, right? So give as much information as you can, distinguish yourself in the marketplace, show what makes you different, and give the customers the level of service that it's going to take to get them into the dealership. So that's when he launched out, 20, 25 years ago. And then obviously about 7 years ago, because before that, Grant was just doing workshops. And the amazing thing to me and about having a leader that you represent, I mean, he was on the road for like 18 months, man, and didn't come home, right? He was out doing workshops, branding, his company, this and that and everything else. And then he finally figured out that, hey, man, I'm tired of being a nomad, and I got to create something that's going to be scalable and be able to get myself out in the marketplace. So that's when we went to the virtual piece. And, he's all about 10X, man. I mean, he's just about, for those of you that haven't read this book, this is the foundation for Grant Cardone. So if you want to know what we're all about here at Cardone Automotive Resources and what Grant's all about, you read this book, it'll change your life. And I know that sounds cliche, but it's true, because, going back to what you were talking about earlier, Sean, it's, everybody and their brother today thinks they're a trainer, right?
Right.
And I've always been a proponent of, unless you've done it, right? Unless you've, worked Saturdays for 20 years, you've been inside of the dealership, you've done the grind, you've gone through the deal, you got to be careful who you listen to. And it's like, I have a lot of respect for you as well, man, because, you've been out there in the marketplace, been killing it. Everything that you talk about brings value. And it's the same with us, man. We just want to bring value. But again, it's like, here's a guy that started off in Lake Charles, Louisiana, in the automotive business, and now lives in Miami and is going to be a billionaire probably within the next 8 to 15 months.
Cardone Capital is at 1.4 billion in assets now. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I was just watching a video just last night, and I was talking about there was over 10 million in investor distributions that was sent out. It's amazing, like you said, from a car salesman from Louisiana that has a 1.4 billion dollar real estate portfolio that's helping like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people with information, education, direction, guidance, and what have you. So to go back to the 10X thing, because I've read the book, and if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but the whole concept is that you can't, whatever plan you think that you have, whatever strategy, you've got to turn around and go 10 times harder than what your original plan is. Let's just use something for communication. So if I'm in the internet department and I'm making phone calls, if I think that I need to follow up with making one phone call, one email, that's never going to happen, right? Because it's never going to be enough. You've got to assume that the person never heard your message, that you got to assume that person never saw that email. So you need to be able to send 10 out. If you send 10 emails or 10 phone calls, you need to send 100 out. Is that the premise? Can you elaborate on that concept?
Yeah, totally, man. I mean, it's just basically everyone always underestimates what it takes for success. So going back to your analogy, I mean, if you're in a BDC and you have your KPIs and your metrics on what you're trying to accomplish, and usually that's around shows and solds, do the math, man. Do the reverse math to figure out what is it going to take for you to hit your goal and your target. And I think the thing about the 10X rule, one of the biggest things that changed my life was really finding out what is my end goal, setting up my targets, and every single day in the morning and in the evening, I'm writing down where I want to be, my goals, how I'm going to get there. But I've been able to manufacture and do the reverse math of what it takes. So it's like, hey, man, if you're taking ups, how many people do you need to talk to? How many people do you need to talk in the service lane? How many internet leads do you need to follow up? Well, what is your follow-up game? How are you going to differentiate yourself? I mean, are you going to make a call? Or are you going to make a call, send an email, send a text, do a social touch? I mean, it's about going outside of the box, man, and just realizing that, you can't be ordinary and you can't be average, because nobody that's ever been average has ever been successful. So it's going to that next level where, Grant used to always talk about back in the day, be a super freak, right? And that's what it is, man. It's like, you got to be someone that when people see you, they're like, dude, what is this guy's deal? Because you had this energy about you and you had this swagger. And I know for myself personally, it's like I started in the business in the 90s. You know, I was a college baseball player. You know, my aspirations were to play professional baseball, right? I had no idea what the hell I wanted to do in my life. So I got involved in the car business, much like everybody else, not by choice. And I was freaking awful at it, right? I had no idea what I was doing. You know, Grant always says the only reason that you don't like something is because you don't know what you're doing. And it couldn't be, you know, any truer, especially in automotive, man. Look, it's a tough business. So it's like, if you don't know and you don't have a mentor to follow, or you're not listening to people that can help you bridge the gap, look, man, you know, you're not going to even last 90 days. So it's about finding that person, latching onto them, and being able to replicate what they've already done. Obviously, you've had a ton of success in your career, and you're still going upwards, and Grant's on a different stratosphere. But, you know, following you, following him, getting involved in what we're doing here at Cardone Automotive Resources. If I was a young car salesperson today, I'd be all over this stuff. And we're giving out a lot of free stuff as well. Like what you and I are doing right now, man, we're doing it for free. We're doing this event in Miami next Tuesday and Wednesday, the 17th and 18th, for free. You have a guy that commands $250,000 for a keynote speech that's going to talk to 200 people in Miami. We have a few seats left, so if you still do want to come, it's 10xautoacademy.com. Go to the website and register. You know, we should be able to fit you in. It's going to be tight, but we'd love to have you attend. But it will never be free again, that I can promise you, because, I mean, the guy's got so many things on his plate. He loves the automotive space. He wants to give back. And, I mean, Grant is excited. And believe me, you know, it's hard to get him excited about things, but he is extremely excited about what's going on.
Yeah, let's go back a couple of different layers there. First and foremost, I love what you just said about reverse engineering. I don't know if you caught what I just put up for a second. This is just a little teaser. For me, this is one of the things that I realized from like listening to Grant years ago and reading, you know, other great people like Grant. Again, you can't turn around and think that you're going to have success without a tactical plan. So one of the things that we and you've talked about before is the whole reverse engineering things. So what people don't realize is that the average salesperson in the United States in the car industry only averages about 9.6 cars. But how is that when you look at like an Ali Reda that's doing, like last year, Jeff, I don't know if you know this, but Ali Reda sold 202 units at Les Stanford Cadillac Chevrolet in 19 days. Now that's 202 units. That's double what the average dealership sells. He sold more than 20 salespeople. 6 managers are capable of selling on a month-to-month basis. So here's what we've come up with. There's 13 different ways, and I'm going to just leave it on the screen for just a second because they have to come to the 10X Auto Academy to get it fully. But, you know, between walk-ins, service, B-backs, phone, internet, you know, prior customers, orphan owners, referrals, the lost art of prospecting. To your point, you have to begin with the end result in mind, from how much money do you need and want to make, and then reverse engineer so you know per day, per week, per month, how many people you need to talk to, how many people you need to set appointments with, how many people need to come in, how many people need to be demoed, how many people need to, you know, get sold. All of those pieces are important. You need to be able to do that. And how are you going to figure out to do that? So your next point is you've got to find a coach. And there's a gentleman named Tim Grover that I met from the Lightspeed conference. And this is the guy that coaches like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, this, that, and the other thing. And if you look at any real professional, like a professional athlete, a professional soldier, any real professional, they didn't just manifest greatness. They've got trainers, they've got coaches, and the truly great ones have multiple trainers, multiple coaches. So for example, in mixed martial arts, you might have a coach that's going to work on your jiu-jitsu. You might have a coach that's going to work on your striking. You might have a coach that's going to work on your wrestling. You might have a nutritionist. You might have a weight trainer. Yes, you have all of those different specialists so you can improve your game. So one of the things that I think is important is if you're in automotive sales and you truly want to be a professional, if you want to learn how to close, if you want to learn the road to the sale, if you want to learn how to, engage and communicate, qualify, identify, meet, and exceed with prospects, if you want to learn how to drive traffic, build your own brand, all this stuff, you either are going to keep trying to fumbling through it and, possibly learning a little bit as you go, or you could find people that are truly successful and truly, gifted at what they do and try to emulate it. To me, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to put it right out there in public because I'm all about me. But to watch Grant do what he's doing, he's created a blueprint. So
Yeah.
even though I'm a multimillionaire myself, I am very successful. I have multiple companies, but I see Grant as somebody that I could turn around and follow his blueprint as far as investments in real estate. What type of moves is he doing? What type of stuff that he could do there? So even for someone like me that I think I'm successful, but to your point, there's different levels to this. Oh my gosh, look at all of our industry.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at an industry that's plagued, it desperately needs coaching. It desperately needs guidance. How do I say that, Jeff? Because we are averaging 70 to 80% attrition. That means 7 to 8 out of 10 salespeople are not going to be here next year at a store. When I look at a dealership that the average salesperson only sells 10 cars, makes 50 grand, but yet there's a little boy named Ryan's Toys that made $33 million in the last 2 years reviewing toys from Legos, it blows my mind. So talk to me about this. What type of stuff can they learn from following the blueprint of 10X or Cardone resources?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think to what you're elaborating on, it's like you do have to have that foundation, right? It's like you're not going to build a house on sand. So you got to know what is the baseline that you have to have, and you got to get good at it, right? And I find that a lot of people today, they're trying to get in all these different sort of sales tactics and tricks and everything else, but they're not even like engaged around the road to the sale, right? So it's like, if you don't know what the metrics look like, if you don't have a coach, and what you're saying is 100% correct. I mean, if there's NFL fans on here, every single Sunday we watch these guys and we admire them. But what we don't understand is how many hours of practice and like studying a playbook and coaching and nutritionists and trainers do they have to deal with to go out there on Sundays, right?
Yeah.
You forget about all that, right? I mean, nobody sees, the blood, sweat, and the tears of what the successful people are doing. Now, when you were talking about Ali Rada, I believe that he eclipsed this guy named Joe Girard.
Yes.
And when I started in the business in the 90s, it was Joe Girard. He was the guy that everybody's like, okay, number one car sales guy. I think he's like, hey man, go to like an event with a stack full of cards and throw them up in the air to get attention. He was that type of guy. But for Ali Rada being able to do that, it's really remarkable. And I think the other thing too, which you were just alluding to, is look, in life, man, you got to celebrate other people's successes, right?
Yes.
Like, I want to see people win, right? I'm not a hater. Anybody that's out there in the marketplace that's doing well, I'm trying to watch what they're doing and find out things that I can pick from that to enhance my skill set. Because, the car business is a very reactive industry. It's not proactive. So if you don't have, the bandwidth, which most dealers don't, to set up their people for success. And the first thing there is like, how do you even onboard your people? That's one of our biggest problems in the industry. I mean, it's like, look, man, when I started back then, at least we had an excuse. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have all that stuff. So it was like, hey, welcome to the dealership. Here's a 3x5 card box to put your prospects in. Here's a freaking phone book and here's a phone. Let's roll. That was how we were set up for success. Or you had to learn from the other people inside of the dealership, which were probably the worst people to listen to because their process was not good anyway. So today you don't have the same excuses. It's just, you got to be willing to invest in yourself. If the dealer is not willing to invest in training, which some of them won't. I mean, look, man, we got training now for $1 a month. So there's no excuse, man. The only reason that you wouldn't train, or the only reason that you say you don't have time, is because, dude, it's just not important to you.
So Jeff, let me jump in right there. So let's start creating a list, because you said onboarding. So definitely, I think onboarding, be specific. What do you mean by onboarding? So when they hire somebody, onboarding is a process of, from the second that these people start, that you have a plan of how to, matriculate them into the floor, correct?
Yeah. So basically what I mean is just new hires. So onboarding,
Right.
It's more of a corporate term, but You and I show up at the dealership tomorrow. We just came out of college. We just came out of working in retail. Maybe we were a waiter, a bartender, or whatever. Look, man, not only do you not understand the dynamics of what you're walking into, you don't understand the business. And I've seen some of the most successful salespeople come into automotive retail and literally just flounder because they don't get it. It's a different type of dynamic. So you got to learn the culture of your dealership. You got to learn the road to the sale. You got to learn the automotive industry, and you got to learn that quick. And you got to have a pathway of what are the most important things you want to figure out in the first 30 days, not 60 days, 90 days, and have a track, but then have a coach that's going to hold you accountable to make sure that you're absorbing the information, right?
So jumping in, so onboarding, new hires, culture, understanding the automotive industry, the road to the sale. We're creating a list, okay?
Yeah.
In addition to the road to the sale, I'd say word tracks, objections, rebuttals, expectations, being able to know how to communicate properly. So I'm going to just call that communications, right? One thing that I really used to love when I was in the still selling cars was going through all of Grant's like closes. Like he had there was like 101 closes that I used to try to like drill and try to remember, and it would help me, give me confidence that when I was in front of a prospect that I had the right things to say at the right times. And the reason why there were so many of them, in my opinion, was because different scenarios with different people, different personalities are going to call for a specific type thing. If you only have one way to handle this situation, it might or might not work. But if you've got 37 different, combinations you could go for, that particular combination might work with that person right then and right there. So I think that's good. Okay, what about this though? What about the whole aspect of driving your own business? Let me go into this. I really want your opinion, and I want to know what Cardone's philosophy on this is, because especially with the real estate, man, because I think that you guys are uniquely equipped. Yeah. I've always wondered, why the hell is it that real estate agents, okay, as soon as they graduate, get their license, they know from the door that they've got to drive their own traffic. That's why they have magazines, they have billboards, they do their own marketing, advertising. But in our industry, in automotive, so many people, or when you say the words, hey, do you have your own website? Are you doing your own marketing, advertising? They're looking at you like you have like 9 heads. Like, no, the dealership's supposed to give me that. But yet, the highest closing ratios are going to be from repeat business, referrals, and the people that you generate yourself. The lowest closing ratios are internet leads, fresh ups, things like that. So talk to me. I want to know, what is, Cardone Automotive Resources? What's the philosophy on building your own business within the dealership, driving your own traffic, and being, in control of your own destiny?
Yeah. No, I mean, we're all about building your brand, right? If you are your brand inside of the dealership, I mean, whether it's Sean Bradley, it's Jeff Bounds, and we work at Acme Ford, you got to create your own business inside of the business. And we've been talking about that in the industry for, ever since I started. I mean, it's your responsibility. It started off, it's like, hey man, you're going to stand out in the point and wait for an up. Then the up bus broke down. Then the internet lead thing started, right? And then nobody wanted to call you back. Nobody wanted to listen. Nobody would answer. And they're like, okay, let's wait for the internet leads, right? Everybody forgot about, what about going out in your local community? What about going to your chamber of commerce? What about calling orphan owners? What about working the service lane? So, and I know we're going to talk about this when you're down here, but there's so many different avenues and sales channels that a salesperson inside of a dealership can leverage to sell more cars. It's unbelievable. But in today's time, if you're not branding yourself, forget about it.
Absolutely. And so going back to that, there's going to be 2 full days at the 10X Auto Academy. So day 1, I saw the syllabus. It's going to be the 10X philosophy. Can you share the breakdown of what day 1's going to look like?
Yeah, I mean, day 1, we're going to have a gentleman that we've also partnered with Cardone Automotive Resources. His name is Dwayne Marino, very robust background, really great guy. He's going to be talking about attitude and goals. We're going to have JJ Jackentile from the Coral Springs Automotive Group. He's going to come in and talk about culture. We're going to have another one of our friends, Rob Ruth, is going to be talking about the impact that by partnering with us and you, how he's been able to take his business to the next level. Then we're going to be talking about follow-up. We're going to have the man himself, Grant Cardone, talking about closing the deal. So that itself is worth flying down here just to hear him talk about that on another level.
Can
And
I
then
jump in?
we're
Wait a
going to,
minute. Let me just say something though. So like, is that definitely in?
yeah.
Because again, I'm kind of on the outskirts of the team. We're friends, we're partners, what have you. But like, that's freaking unbelievable because, to have Grant there himself to be able to share, his wisdom in such an intimate environment. Like he's usually doing stuff. I was at 10X last year in Miami with like almost 30,000 people. So for him to be there in an intimate setting with these dealers, this is a no-brainer. People, you have to turn around and go, even if it was just so you could sit face to face with Grant and have him go over, some of his strong philosophies on how to close the deal. I mean, like that's what I'm really excited about. You know what I mean? Myself, I'm looking for it. I've known Grant for like over 15, 16 years. And so I still love to hear him speak. And then to watch him evolve as a speaker is been amazing for me because I'm in the NSA. I'm the National Speaker
Yeah.
Association. So I'm a little bit bougie and I love
Yeah.
professional speakers. To me, just the whole art of it. Okay, so that's crazy. That's only day one.
That's only day one. And then we have a very special guest on day two.
Uh-huh.
That's Sean Bradley. That's going to freaking crush it, talking about everything BDC, internet. And
CRM.
then I know you about your daughter and what she's been able to do. And I think this is important because, look, man, this what we're going to talk about over these 2 days down here in Miami. None of this is theory.
No.
This is real. This works. So if you don't believe me, Google Grant Cardone. If those of you on this are like under some sort of rock somewhere and you don't know who Grant is, look at this guy. Look what he's doing. Look at what he's doing on social. Look at how he's built his business. We're going to be talking about those same things. So what you're going to listen to is from somebody that's been able to take it to the next level. And like I say, on your side, if I was going to partner with anybody in the internet BDC space, it would be you because you know what you're doing. And you're very strategic and tactical on how to get it done. So look, man, it's 2 days. We're going to get a lot of stuff in. Obviously, we have partnered. You're part of the Cardone Automotive resources right now. So we're going to be leveraging a lot of other opportunities moving forward. So it's going to be a great 2 days. So I hope everybody will be able to attend.
Absolutely. I know that I'm looking forward to it. I know that I have joint clients that are going to be there. They're super excited about it. Again, the future is going to be phenomenal. And folks, listen, this is the end of the year. Okay, if you want to close your year strong or stronger, and if you want to have a tactical plan with surgical precision going into January 2020, you need to go to the 10X Auto Academy. It's going to be December. It's going to be next week. It's going to be the 17th and 18th. You have an all-star team. Jeff, I don't know if this analogy is good, but this is one I love to say. It is like the Avengers and the Justice League coming together and having a whole new category of superheroes, man. I mean, it's really exciting.
And I want to touch on something else you just said too,
Yeah.
because some people are like, dude, why are you guys having this in December? Why not? I mean,
Are
if
you
you're going to
crazy?
look, man, when I was still in retail and I got out of retail in 2013, I worked for the Penske Group and I worked at our BMW location in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I shit you not, man, from the day after Christmas to New Year's, we sold 75% of our volume that month. And we were all sitting there staring at each other, being like, dude, where's everybody at? I mean, you could set off a bomb in the showroom and nobody would get hit, right? So imagine the impact. You send your leadership, right? You send your BDC people, you send your people that are in the trenches to spend 2 days with Grant Cardone, with Sean Bradley. Come on, man. I mean, it's like you're gonna finish out the year strong, and then you're gonna have momentum going into 2020. So it's like, this is the best time, man. This is the time you got to be engaged.
1000%. So listen, this is going to be the beginning of just a tremendous amount of, pun intended, synergy. And folks, I want to say this: synergy is defined as two or more agents that come together. It's greater than the individual effect. So peanut butter is good, jelly is good, but when you put it together, it's a banging lunch with some milk. And so with that being said, Jeff, in closing, any other things that you want to share with the audience? Because this is going to be live in the Millionaire Car Salesman group. I'm going to be tagging all my dealers and all my dealer groups in it. Is there anything else that we want to let these people know?
Yeah, I think the first thing I would say is, for those of you out there that are on the fence about, do I need training, do I not need training? Here's what I challenge you with. Line up 10 of your salespeople and listen to their phone calls. And you tell me, from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how would you rate those calls? And one of the things that we're going to be talking about over these 2 days is phones. And phones have become top channel again in automotive because of the, the digital spend and just the exposure out there in the marketplace to drive traffic. Because they're only going to come 2 ways, man. They're going to pick up the phone and call you, or they're going to walk in the showroom. And in most of
Absolutely.
the areas today, Miami included, I'm like, dude, to go like 4 or 5 miles here, it might take 45 minutes. People are just not going to drive point to point. You're going to get one opportunity at that customer. And the question is, what are you doing with it? Are you prepared? Do you have the scripts? Do you have the word tracks? Do you have the information to get them ready? So that's what I challenge everybody with. I mean, look, you need to come to Miami on the 17th and the 18th, spend 2 days with Grant Cardone, Sean Bradley, myself, Dwayne Marino, and the other killers that we're going to have in the room here. And I promise you, it'll change your life.
They said, what time are the schedules on Tuesday and Wednesday? So someone's asking, what time is the event start and end?
Yeah, we're going to run 9 to 5, Tuesday and Wednesday. You'll want to get here at 8:30 for registration. And the one thing I can tell you guys is that if you do want to come, we'd love to have you. You absolutely have to register.
I just put
We
the link
have
in.
tons of security here in this building. You will not get in the building unless you are registered.
I would hope so. If someone's about to be a billionaire, there better be like Secret Service agents all over that place.
Yeah, it's like Fort Knox here. So you make sure you register. We're going to do everything that we can to accommodate everybody. Again, this will be the last time that this will be free. I can promise.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Grant's, this is, I guess, his holiday gift to the industry. Okay.
Yeah.
All you got to do is pick it up at the North Pole. Actually, Miami is the North Pole for this analogy. But Jeff, you just triggered something. Let me just give some closing data right here. This is NADA 2019 facts. Okay. 99% of Americans are going online before they step foot into the dealership. Fact. 90% of all transactions in the United States start on search. People find their husbands, their wives, their pets, their medication, their restaurants, and damn sure their cars online. Fact, 9 out of 10 internet prospects prefer the phone. That's why leads that come through from third-party providers like Cars Direct, TrueCar, AutoWeb, etc., all, they come through email only, okay? But if you look at the online classifieds like Car Gurus, Auto Trader, cars.com, you're going to have more phone ups than you will have actual email leads. Because if a prospect's given the choice to just communicate through email or pick up the phone, prospects 9 out of 10 times prefer that. So the two most important things, in my opinion, my humble opinion, is the internet and the phones. Now, the internet and the phones are the foundation of a BDC. This is a misconception that I'm going to talk about in Miami, is that the BDC is not an internet department that takes phone ups. That's just an internet department that takes phone ups. A real BDC does internet sales, phone sales, unsold showroom traffic, data mining, equity mining, special finance online, lease retention, fleet, blah, 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 blah. Basically, a real BDC is going to be a department that proactively drives business through all profit centers. Here's 2 problems that most dealerships have and might not even realize this. Fact, 90% of all CRMs are either broken or not put together correctly or not used correctly. Fact, over 80% of all BDCs and dealerships are either broken or non-profitable because they don't have the proper setup. And we're going to be, I'm going to be focusing on 3 main areas. One, I'm in Miami at the 10X Auto Academy. I'm going to be focusing on CRM. I'm going to be focusing on our award-winning phone sales and internet protocol, the actual protocol. And then finally, I'm going to be using my daughter, as you mentioned, Tiana, T Got Your Keys, as a case study. Here's a young 20-year-old woman that has been in the dealership less than a year. She's selling 17, 18 units a month, making over $7,000, $7,500 on the showroom floor, not as in the internet or BDC, but she's doing things like having her own website. She's driving her own traffic, through her website, through paid Facebook, paid social. So between the dealer synergy, brand and demand curriculum for internet, phone, CRM, with the incredibly powerful Cardone from psychology, strategy, everything from closing, the road to the sale, everything in between. To me, Jeff, I believe that we're going to be able to deliver in Miami mindset and skill set. And that's all that you need. You need to have the proper mindset and the proper skill set for success. So again, it's a real pleasure to be able to work with you and your team. And man,
before we jump. So for everybody that attends,
ooh,
you're going to get one of these. This is
Okay.
a 10X planner, right? This is going to give you the baseline of what you need to do every single day to create a successful life and a successful career. So everybody's going to get one of these. Like I say, Grant's going all out. This is a great gift. We typically sell these for $25-$30. Everybody's going to get one that's an attendee.
Awesome. Well, listen, everybody, again, you got to go to www.10xautoacademy.com. That's www.10xautoacademy.com. Register. Now, who can attend? We didn't talk about that. Managers and owners, correct?
So this is a management conference. So we're looking for dealer principals, general managers, GSMs, sales managers. We will allow BDC. This is not an event for salespeople. We're going to have something in the future for that. This is a leadership event.
Perfect. Okay, Jeff, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to be able to share in everybody that's going to be there, their successes. Thank you.
Yeah, likewise. Talk to you soon, bud.
Take care.
What a blessing. I've been blessed 100 times over. First of all, to do two things that I always wanted to do. That's play basketball, be a businessman.
Magic for three. Yes. Three-pointer. Yes. Oh, my. Magic down the middle. Just what I thought. A hook shot at 12. Good. 2 seconds left. The Lakers take the lead on Magic Johnson's running skyhook.
I enjoy challenges, and it's a challenge tonight to see what I can do.
Basketball prepared me for the business room, no question about it. You know, if it wasn't for basketball, I don't think I could be the CEO that I am today.
An unbelievable performance by Magic Johnson. Do I have a big announcement for you, my friends?
How can we get to the people that we feel need the financial information the most?
A-lister, movie star, comedian.
The best way to really do it is to put me in a position to be heard. Yes, yes! The purpose is to align ourselves to really make a change. So you can either be the conversation about making change, or you can be a part of the action to do it. I want to be a part of the action. We're all writing a book. What's your book look like?